Hello, everyone, and welcome to Big Sam's Long Balls podcast with me, Dan. Now, the weekend saw the first round of games for the brand new Premier League season, and I'm pissed. I'm annoyed. 2 days after it's happened, my team Liverpool fell to a piss poor, limp dick draw away at newly promoted Fulham. Now, I just wanted to make this video discussing a little bit about the game because I didn't get a chance to actually over the weekend, and also discussing the transfers. Ideally, a midfielder that Liverpool need to bring in. We've still got, I believe, about a month left of this transfer window. It's not ideal because the season started and Jurgen Klopp seems incredibly reluctant to go into the transfer market and bring in a midfielder for reasons beyond my comprehension. But I just wanted to talk about the game because I think there's more questions than answers after watching that game. But first of all, we have to give huge credit to Fulham. Opening game of the season for them, have just been promoted, a huge scalp. And to be honest, they deserve to win. They massively deserve to win. You know, that first half in particular, they bullied Liverpool off the park. They absolutely battered us. It was horrifying to watch. Really, really embarrassing. And not embarrassing because it was Fulham, but just embarrassing the way that we played. But Fulham forced us into those mistakes, absolutely bullied our midfield, bullied our defence as well, made players like Van Dijk look incredibly uncomfortable, and our attack just never really got going. As the game went on, Liverpool, I think, sort of grew more into the game and potentially had a few more chances. A few positives being, Darwin Núñez certainly looks ready for the Premier League. I would say looks an absolute monster up front. He's not, you wouldn't say he's the most technically gifted player out there, when you compare him to, say, a Firmino. But I like that. Firmino might have a nicer touch. He might have the no-look goal or whatever, but he's 32 years old. He's slow. He's not a ruthless striker. Darwin Núñez, he's young. He's hungry. Get the ball into the box. He causes chaos, absolute chaos. He could have easily had a hat-trick. So I just want to see this guy start. I suppose another positive was Harvey Elliott. When Harvey Elliott came on, I think Liverpool looked a little bit more balanced. Mo Salah certainly grew into the game. But other than that, no real positives for me for Liverpool. Alisson looks a little bit clumsy. He hasn't really had a pre-season, so I suppose that's to be expected. Defensively, we looked awful. Van Dijk and Matip, we know how good they are. We know how good Van Dijk is, but they just didn't look up for it. And this is, it's a worry, I think, because Liverpool ended the season last year. It wasn't enjoyable to watch. It was really, really tough. And look, last season was a great season because, we played every possible game. We won 2 trophies. It shouldn't be dismissed. But when push came to shove, with the 2 biggest trophies that we wanted, the Premier League title and the Champions League, we fell short. We fell short on both. And it was really, really tough to take. It would have been tougher for them as players. But at the end of last season, every single game was challenging to watch because we would often fall behind first. We'd start the game so slowly, all of this. And you would put up with that, to a degree, and go, okay, look, the players have been amazing all season. They're obviously knackered, obviously all probably playing with injuries as well. So it was all about the result and not the performance. If we had to come from behind, which we pretty much did in every single game towards the end of the season, and if we weren't playing our brilliant football, as tough as it was to watch it, you would put up with it. But you want to start the season differently. You want to start the season fresh. And I thought, with the heartbreak of losing the Premier League title by 1 point and then losing the Champions League final, within the last week of the season, I thought with such heartbreak, Liverpool would come out angry, on Saturday. I thought that they would come out, not dismiss Fulham and wipe the floor and thrash them, but I just thought we would be at them. We would be hungry for that win. We would be physically strong. I couldn't have been more wrong. I could not have been more wrong. Fulham were in our faces. It was a far bigger game for Fulham. It seemingly meant more to them. Our midfield was an absolute embarrassment, a complete joke. Fabinho ended the season really poorly. Obviously he picked up that injury towards the end, didn't he? But towards the end of the season, he looked very leggy. He looked very tired. Was really struggling. Again, that was the same throughout pre-season, and against Fulham on Saturday, he looked all over the place. I'm confident because Fabinho I'd say he is a world-class defensive midfielder, so I'm confident that he will get back to that level. But He needs to get back there pretty quickly because this has been a little while now. He's been performing like this. Thiago, our best midfielder, easily looks like he's now out for a potentially very, very long time, which, Christ, Jordan Henderson, there is a lot of hatred for Jordan Henderson out there, and I don't want to add onto that. I really don't. I think Jordan Henderson has been a legendary player for Liverpool. He will go down as a legend status as a captain. He's won everything for this club. He is brilliant. However, he should not be he should not be a number 8 anymore. He's not a box-to-box midfielder anymore. He was. That's fine. He's not anymore. He's 32 years of age. He's not the quickest. He's struggling to get up and down the pitch. He was being thrown to the floor relentlessly against Fulham. Every time I saw Henderson, he was barged over. He just looked like he could not cope. I think he's far better rotating with someone like a Fabinho in that number 6 role. He's pretty good in that position, Jordan Henderson. So I will criticise him in the number 8. I hate watching him there because I think, he looks awful. I will say in the number 6 position, he can be pretty good, I think, because he can see the full pitch. He can play at a slightly slower pace. He's got a fantastic passing range. He can win those 50-50 challenges, and he can conserve his energy for tighter areas of the pitch. Box to box, he's not it for me. He's really, really struggling. I think he's been struggling for a couple of years now. And these people, he keeps saying, this fan base is split. It really is split. And I've got Twitter open because I wanted to look at some of the Liverpool news, potentially, the midfield news, and we can go through it together and look at some of the comments because, Twitter comments are always worth reading. But this fan base seems very, very split. There are fans who I would put myself in the category of who are saying, trying to be respectful and say, Jordan Henderson, he's not it at the moment. He needs to rotate in and out with Fabinho, do the Milner role, rotation. He's so important to the squad as the captain, but he should not be first 11. He should not be in the first 11 for me. Not as a guaranteed player. I really don't think he should be anywhere near it. Players like Firmino as well. And you kind of get called out on it by other fans. It's sort of, you get called a plastic. You get told that you've only just been supporting the club recently, which is actually laughable. I've supported this team my whole life. I've watched them under Julier. I've watched them under Rafa Benitez. I've watched Roy Hodgson. I've watched Liverpool for over 20, for nearly 25 years now. I'm much older than 25, but I've been watching them for 25 years. I absolutely love this football club. So to be called a plastic by some of these absolute douchebags on Twitter and on social media in general, because they have another podcast that is far bigger than my channel, or they have a YouTube channel, again, is far bigger than this channel, and they're in with the club. So they don't like to come out and say, be real. Say Jordan Henderson isn't good enough at the moment. Firmino isn't good enough. We need more players being brought in to not question FSG, to say, again, net spend is the fucking priority. Again, Champions League qualification is the priority. This team should be winning Premier League titles. Finishing second isn't good enough for me. Sorry, it isn't anymore. I don't want to look back on this team in 5-10 years' time and go, God, that team underachieved. How did the team of Salah, Mane when he was here, Van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, Thiago, and so on and so on, how did they only win one Premier League title? How did they only win one Champions League title? This team should be winning more. And obviously it's going to be incredibly hard with Manchester City, with the money that they've got, with the quality that they've got. But the biggest difference between us and Man City is they're ruthless. Their manager is ruthless. And I don't think that ours is. And I love Jurgen Klopp. Absolutely love Jurgen Klopp. But you cannot criticize him in this fan base. If you criticize Jurgen Klopp in this fan base, you are hounded out, and it is shocking. It is shocking. I will criticize Jurgen Klopp, and I will do it on this podcast, and I will keep doing it. It doesn't mean that I think he's a rubbish manager. It doesn't mean that I want him sacked. Of course it doesn't. But that performance on Saturday wasn't good enough. And actually, I was really happy when Jurgen Klopp came out and he criticized some of the players. He's never done that before, and he questioned their attitude, which is a bit of a worry, but with the quality of Jurgen Klopp, you know that or I'm very confident in believing a performance like that isn't going to happen again for a while. I mean, fingers crossed, but I do genuinely believe it. However, his his loyalty to certain players, like a Jordan Henderson, like a Firmino, Darwin, I get it. I sort of get it. You're a big money signing. Let's bed him in slowly. But he came on and he was fantastic against Manchester City. The momentum was there. He came on against Fulham, and within a couple of minutes, he scores a goal. We could have had another one. He could have had an assist. He makes things happen. He is the future of this football club. We want to see him. Players like Carvalho. If we're not going to sign a midfielder, which is utterly ridiculous at this point, but if we're not going to, then we need to see some of these younger players playing ahead of Jordan Henderson, or ahead of a James Milner. It's not enough. It's not good enough in 2022. That team, the team that we ended the game with, or the midfield that we ended the game with, it's not good enough, man. It's nowhere near good enough. And I'm reading here, Klopp and Liverpool will consider a new midfielder if there's an opportunity on the market. This is just sheer naivety. It's neglect on behalf of the owners, on behalf of Klopp, if this is his choice. 2 years ago, this shit happened in defence. We sold Dejan Lovren and we did nothing. And Stevie Wonder himself could have seen what was going to happen. You couldn't predict the Van Dijk injury 2 years ago. Of course you couldn't. But you could predict a Matip injury. You could predict a Joe Gomez injury, because they get injured waking up in the morning. Brilliant players, but can't be relied upon. So to go into a season where you've only got 3 centre-backs, 2 of which, spend most of the time at the hospital, it was ridiculous for Liverpool to do it. And I know it's because they wanted Konate. I know that. But surely you have to bite the bullet and go, right, we need a backup. We need a plan B. Mo Salah was the plan B. In 2017, Jurgen Klopp wanted Julian Brandt, and he had to be convinced. So all this talk that Jurgen Klopp is this absolute god at Liverpool is bollocks. He's a manager. He's a world-class manager, but he makes mistakes, and he's incredibly stubborn. He had to be convinced to sign Mo Salah. He wouldn't sign a centre-back because he only wanted Konate, and it cost us that season. And now we want Jude Bellingham. Brilliant. We want Bellingham, and it's going to cost probably 100 million, if not more. This deal might happen next year. But you know what? We're not the only team in the world that wants Jude Bellingham. Everyone will want Jude Bellingham. Real Madrid will want him. Potentially PSG will want him. Bayern Munich will want him. Manchester United, Chelsea, Manchester City, all of these teams will want him, and they will all be able to offer him more wages. So I don't know why we're convinced that we're going to be able to sign Jude Bellingham, because I sure as shit can't see it happening. But why is it only Jude Bellingham? Jude Bellingham or nothing. I can't have another season like it was 2 years ago, where, already Thiago's injured, first game of the season. I mean, maybe a blessing in disguise that has happened while the transfer window is still open, if you can look at it like that. But why, after what happened 2 years ago, would you go into a season again with this? And I know that we've got numbers in midfield, but then it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You would say first choice, Fabinho, Thiago. Other than that, who comes in? It's Jordan Henderson, because he's the captain and because the manager's loyal to him. But he sure as shit shouldn't be there. Harvey Elliott is 19, teenager. Can't, as good as he is, he can't be expected to play there all season. He needs time to develop, and we want to see him. Of course we do. Who else is there? We've got Curtis Jones, who, I mean, again, he's still very, very young. But my God, this guy is, he's not good enough. He's nowhere near good enough at the moment. He's just watching his career go by for me. He's passive. He's slow. Again, he's another one who doesn't look intense, doesn't look up for the challenge. When Curtis Jones first came through on the academy, we were excited. This attacking midfielder scores goals, scores assists, scores a goal against Everton on what might have been his competitive debut for Liverpool. We couldn't wait. He's regressed since then. He does nothing. You can see a player hiding on the pitch in Curtis Jones. So he sure as hell isn't the answer. Naby Keita, flatters to deceive. He's a very talented player. We can all see it, but injury prone as hell, can't be relied upon, spends at least a third of the season injured. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, this guy is, are you taking the piss? Are we taking the piss? I can sit here and talk about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's, talent, his potential, how he could fit in. And then you sit back and you go, fucking hell, it's 5 years ago when he was playing for Liverpool regularly. 5 years ago of when he was actually good for us. Since then, he's done nothing. And why is he still here? He's going to leave for free. Why don't we just sell him this summer? Why are we keeping players when the manager has no interest in playing them? But then we won't go out and sign someone. And then who else is there? There's James Milner, who actually I rate quite highly. If James Milner was 10 years younger, he would be in my first team. But he's approaching 40. He can't be what we're relying upon. But tell you what, James Milner, if he had played against Fulham, I don't think that performance happens. That's how good he is. And it's slightly shameful that in 2022, we need James Milner to come on in games, to really help us. It's a testament to how good he is and how fit he is. But come on, man. Come on. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain will leave for free next year. James Milner will probably leave for free. I think Naby Keita can leave for free. Thiago can leave for free in 2 years' time. We need midfielders being brought in. I don't understand this whole, if there is an opportunity on the market, if there is not, if there is an injury, if there is a need for it. We needed a midfielder 2 years ago when we won the league title. We went out and signed Thiago, and that was brilliant. But the thing is, with a player like Thiago, he's a luxury player, nothing more than that. You look at his injury record at Bayern, it was horrendous. This is nothing new. And you look at Liverpool's stats with Thiago, they're up here. They're challenging Man City. Without Thiago, Man City are up here, Liverpool are down here. There wasn't a Premier League title challenge last year for half the season because Thiago was out injured up until sort of Christmas time. At that point, Man City were 14, 15 points ahead. The minute that Thiago came back in, Liverpool played so much better, and then the gap was 1 point. Don't mind my little cat here, just sort of joining in with the video. That's how important Thiago is. But he's a luxury player. You can't rely upon him. You just can't. And it frustrates me where we're just ignoring that midfield. Yes, we have numbers in there. Yes, we've got options. But tell you what, they're not good enough. They're injury prone, or they don't do anything on that football pitch. And they haven't done for a number of years. And when we talk about Jordan Henderson and where this fan base gets split, where if you criticize someone like Jordan Henderson, you're a plastic. And if you praise him, you're a top red. This fan base is very, very strange. I really don't like it. But with someone like a Jordan Henderson, for example, if I was to say to someone, give me an example when Jordan Henderson was really impacting the game regularly, week in, week out, where he was completely undroppable, where he was driving our midfield forward. You know what people will say? They'll have compilations of the year that we won the Premier League title. That was nearly 3 seasons ago. 3 seasons ago, when you're saying, can you show me when he was really, really good, when he was doing this thing? It'll be 3 years ago when he was doing it consistently. That's not good enough. That's not good enough for where this team is. And we've got exciting options. We've got some really exciting young players in the academy. We've got one player, 17. I can't pronounce his name. Bravitic, I want to say, something like that. He looks good, but he's 17. He can't be relied upon. Harvey Elliott is 19. Carvalho is 18, 19. Yes, it's well and good going. The future looks exciting, but the present doesn't, because our midfield is shite. And look, it wasn't just our midfield against Fulham that was shit. The whole thing was awful. The players came out with such an appalling attitude. They were lazy. They were slow. They looked arrogant. They looked entitled. That we'll just strut onto the pitch at Craven Cottage and we'll win here. We'll win here, no problem. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. Van Dijk. I love Van Dijk, and I genuinely believe he's the best defender in world football when he is at his best. But there are times where he is really poor on the football pitch, and he's at his best when he's aggressive, when he's intense. We haven't seen that Van Dijk for a little while now. He starts games very, very slowly. He looks really relaxed, shoulders back. Yeah, this is very casual. It doesn't send a good message, because it's very hard when you're playing the game sort of slowly and casually to then flick of the switch to suddenly be at your best. And Van Dijk can do that because he's an incredible player, but he struggled against Fulham. He really struggled against Mitrovic. He does not. I've noticed, as good as Van Dijk is, and as good as this Liverpool team have been over the past few years, this team don't like it when teams are aggressive with them and teams press them. And that's what Fulham did against us. Everyone talks about the low block. Liverpool struggle against the low block. And yes, we do from time to time, but more often than not, we find a way around it. Where we really struggle is when teams actually show us no respect and get in our face and are aggressive. We don't like it. Van Dijk likes it when he's got loads of time to get on the ball, pick up, look up and go, spray a 50, 60-yard pass to Mo Salah. What he doesn't like is when players get in his face and are aggressive and throw him to the floor. Because, referees were a little bit more lenient in that game against Fulham. And I'm not having to go at the ref. That's what I want. I personally want to see that. But there are a few times that Liverpool players were thrown to the floor, they throw their arms in the air. It's not good. I don't want to see that. If these Fulham players or opposition players are pushing you to the floor, get up and do the fucking same to them. And Liverpool look like they look cowardly. They look really frightened. They don't like it when teams attack them, when teams are aggressive with them. Trent Alexander-Arnold's another one. We can talk about how good he is going forward, but defensively he was shit. He was shit against Fulham. And that Mitrovic goal, people keep going, what do you expect? Mitrovic getting the run on any fullback at the far post is going to cause problems. And yes, of course it will. But there are other ways to defend it. You can't just say that when a ball comes across, the 6-yard box and you're at the far post and someone's running behind you, you can't just go, okay, well, it's going to be a goal, isn't it? Alberto Moreno used to do that all the time, and he was hounded by the Liverpool fans. He was heavily criticised, and rightfully so, because he was appalling. But Trent Alexander-Arnold does the same thing defensively. Nothing is really said. No one wants to criticise him, and it annoys me. And you might say, well, what should he have done? Well, I'm not a football coach, but if the ball comes across and he must have known that Mitrovic was there. He would have seen him. He would have had a call. You could stop. You could block the run. Yes, you might turn around and say, well, that's going to be a penalty. You can be clever about it. If you hold your ground and Mitrovic runs into the back of you, you might just, a referee might say, no, that's not enough for a penalty. Another thing is, if Mitrovic is jumping up behind you, be clever about it. Go to the ground easily. Make sure he connects with your face. You can roll on the floor holding your face. Yeah, it might not be something that you want to see. Is it in the spirit of the game? Potentially no. But I'd rather see a defender be clever and win a free kick that probably shouldn't be a free kick than concede a goal and either lose or draw the game. And that's where Trent needs to be better. And I think that's the whole Liverpool team need to be better. We play into the opposition hands too much for me. We're too... People will disagree with this as rival fans because of think that VAR favours Liverpool and all of that, which I strongly disagree with. But every football fan will feel that VAR is always against them. But I do feel that with Man City, for example, we all know that when they give the ball away, it's instantly a free kick, instantly a foul, and they want to do that to stop the opposition from playing on. Liverpool don't do that. I think Liverpool are quite fair with opposition. They sort of they tend not to foul too many players. I that's how I feel when I watch it. And actually, I want to see Liverpool be a little bit more aggressive, cheat a little bit more. When we give the ball away, foul a player instantly. Buy a free kick. If you're in a dodgy situation in the penalty area, and throw yourself to the ground, hold your face. I'm saying that as a football fan. Yeah, we might not want to see it, but we're hypocrites as football fans. If Mo Salah dives for a penalty, do you think I care? No, of course I don't. If Trent Alexander-Arnold up against Mitrovic had fallen to the floor and claimed to be hurt, and it made it look like Mitrovic had fouled him when he hadn't, and the goal gets chalked off, do you think I care as a Liverpool fan? No, of course I don't. So I want to see more of that. And I just feel that Liverpool are too obvious at times when they play the high line. We gift chances for teams. We watched the Man City game yesterday, and people say Man City are boring. But you know what? They don't give teams a chance. They keep the ball, they create chances, they score a goal, and then they just keep the ball. Yeah, okay. Maybe we want more end-to-end football, but they're like that, Man City. They're just blocking you off. You don't get a chance against them. And that's how Liverpool used to be. You know, I don't. The best I've seen Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, it wasn't actually the season we won the title. It was the season before, the 18-19 season. Liverpool played more counter-attacking football. We played a deeper line. We didn't play this high line, which I'm not a lover of. You know, last season we saw it work really effectively, quite a lot, but I'm not a big fan of it. And Van Dijk's best season, I thought 18-19, we defended deeper. He led that line and we could win games 1-0. 1-0. I don't think this Liverpool team's capable of winning again 1-0 at the moment. High line, starting slowly. We give the incentive to the opposition every single time almost. We're just starting 1-0 down, or it feels like we're starting with a man down. I don't understand what's happening. And I know this is an overreaction. I know it's just one game, but the end of last season was uncomfortable to watch, you know, the performances, but we put up with it because we had so much on the line. Pre-season hasn't been great. I've watched every single game. I've not reacted to it. I've not done a video on it because it's pre-season, but I did watch it and I thought Liverpool, barring, you know, the Man City game and the 4 goals for Núñez against Leipzig, Liverpool lacked intensity in every single game. They were slow, they were passive, and people kept saying it's hot where they're playing, it's pre-season, it's a friendly. So I thought, okay, I'll put up with that. But the first game of the season saw the exact same thing. I saw a passive, slow, arrogant, and almost entitled Liverpool team where they thought, we're a better team than this Fulham, so we'll come up and we'll win. I'm hoping it's going to be a reality shock. I'm hoping that actually it cuts them down to size, brings them down to earth a bit. You know, I wanted to see Liverpool come out angry after, you know, the disappointment really of last season. I'm hoping desperately at home on Monday night under the lights at Anfield up against a very good Crystal Palace team. I want to see Liverpool at them from the off, 100 mile an hour, get in their faces, being aggressive. But I also want to see Liverpool active in the transfer market in the next month. I think we needed a midfielder at the start of this transfer window. I think we needed one last season. It didn't happen. We needed one at the beginning of this transfer window. It didn't happen. And now we have an injury to Thiago. I think going forward, Liverpool need 2 midfielders. We're obviously not going to go get Jude Bellingham this summer. I'm highly doubtful we'll get him next summer, if I'm perfectly honest, with the money that's going to be involved. Liverpool need to go out and get a centre midfielder. You know, names are being linked. Yuri Tillemans, does he fit? Is he as athletic? I tell you what, he's fucking technically gifted. And he wouldn't have played as badly as those players would have done against Fulham. Not in a million miles. And he runs a hell of a lot more than his reputation seems to perceive. Another one is Núñez at Sporting Lisbon. You know, I don't know enough about him. I've only ever seen compilations. I can't give you an assessment on whether I think he would be good, whether he would be bad. But Liverpool do seem, or the scouts and the coaches often watch the Portuguese league. So, you know, if there's something about him, then I feel like we would have gone for him by now. So Barella is a big one. I would love to see Barella at this football club. But again, the finances to get him out of Milan would be too much for our owners, you know, because net spend is most important and Champions League qualification is most important for this club. Winning titles is not the goal for our owners. You know, it simply isn't. As long as we're in top 4, that's all that matters. So we're not going to spend big on someone like a Barella. You know, it will affect net spend. Also, it doesn't seem like he particularly wants to leave Italy. I respect that. But, you know, there are so many players out there. You know, look at Newcastle, for example, when they brought in Bruno, is it Guimaraes? This is my pronunciation of players' names is horrendous, but he's been brilliant. He's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League since he's arrived. He was available last summer. He was available in January. Newcastle got him, and now he looks like a sensational player. It's not all just Bellingham or Barella. There are other players out there who would fit this Liverpool team. You know, there must be, I think there's probably about 20 midfielders out in world football who could do a better job than some of our midfielders, like, genuinely, barring Thiago and Fabinho. And Thiago's now out injured. So we need some investment. We need to go out and get a midfielder. My goal, or the midfielder I'd love to see, is pissing Frankie de Jong. You know, why would we allow him to go to Manchester United or potentially to Chelsea? Improving our rivals, improving a potential title rival in Chelsea, because we're too loyal to someone who was brilliant 3-4 years ago and who hasn't shown that consistency or that quality since then, if we're being perfectly honest. Frankie de Jong, imagine him in this Liverpool midfield. He's incredible, but we're not going to go out and sign him. But anyway, this was a video where I wanted to talk about the Fulham game. I want to talk about midfield targets. I am genuinely a little bit worried because I look at this team, and although I'm excited by some of the players that we brought in over the summer and some of the younger players, and I do feel that we've got a terrific squad. I really, really do. I just don't feel there's enough there to win a title or to even challenge for a title. I genuinely feel like that. I feel like this could be a transitional season, and I hate that. I hate that. Not when we've got players like Van Dijk in their 30s and Mo Salah. I don't want to see transitional times. I don't want to see a season like 2 years ago where our weakest area is being neglected. Injuries happen because they obviously happen anyway, and more obviously because the injuries are happening to players who get injured every fucking year at this club. We won't go out and sign someone. I don't know if it's because of money. I don't know if it's out of loyalty to certain players. I don't know what it is, but my loyalty and my interest is Liverpool Football Club more than one particular player. So I want Liverpool to go out, sign a midfielder this summer, please. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more football videos, and let me know in the comments down below, if you guys are Liverpool fans, what did you think of the game? Also, as Fulham fans, because I haven't spoken enough about Fulham. I only mentioned you in the first 30 seconds of this video, and that's not right. We should talk about the teams who, when they get a fantastic performance and a fantastic result, and we often talk about the bigger clubs, but Liverpool is my team, so I was very, very frustrated on Saturday. I still am frustrated 2 days later. But let me know in the comments down below, guys, what you thought of the game and also about the rest of the games this weekend. Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Tottenham fans, you excited for what you've seen? And Man United fans, it didn't quite happen, did it? The new era had a pretty shocking start. So comment down below, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon. So thank you so much for watching.